Hello, Mason Patriots. Welcome to another episode of Beyond GMU. I'm Manny Vezaga. So, last time I talked about lit students. And what are lit students again? Lit students are leaders, innovators, and team players. And today we're joined by another lit student. Her name is Chateau Mangaroo. Chateau is Executive Assistant to Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Nuclear Matters. Let's welcome Chateau Mangaroo. How are you, Chateau?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for coming on to my show. So can you briefly tell us about your job and what it encompasses?
Yeah, so it's a mouthful to say. I apologize for that, but
No worries.
that's things at the Pentagon. But what it is basically is I provide administrative support to the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Nuclear Matters, or DASD, which is a very common acronym at the Pentagon. And what that encompasses is I do things like making schedules, travel arrangements. I book meetings. I make phone calls to book meetings, things like that.
So you're a communication major, correct?
Yes.
How is communication applicable to this job? And I know you also have public relations training. How are communication and public relations applicable, or how are you applying it to your job right now?
Okay, so I gave like a really simple description of what I do, but it's really a lot more. So say, for example, I have to schedule a meeting or schedule travel. For example, my boss is going to New Mexico next week. So it's not just simply just booking his travel, but it is talking to all the different places he's visiting to make sure they can accept him, to make sure they're ready to accept him, since he is a high level, to make sure they have the protocols in place. So there's a lot of just talking and getting to know people and having them get to know us. So that's public relations, is knowing your customer and knowing your public. And so I do a lot of those things, mainly through email, through phone discussions. And yeah, scheduling a meeting, yeah, it sounds like it's easy, but when you put all the pieces together in the public relations piece, it can be a lengthy process at times, but I love it. I've met a lot of people, through this job, and I've learned a lot of things, and I've only been at the job a little bit over a month, and it's just amazing, just the little bit of communication I've had to do, how much I've learned.
And I know you already have a degree. You already have a bachelor's degree, and you went back to get your communication degree. Why?
Why? Well, part of it was, I'm a military veteran myself, and I had a benefit to help pay for college tuition. And since I didn't have any children or a dependent, such as a husband at the time, I was like, well, what do I do with it? So first I wasn't actually going to use it, but I remember one day, I think it was 2015 in the summer, or maybe even in the spring, and I'm talking to my dad, and I just realized I like communication. I didn't realize it, but I like communication. I like talking to people. I like forging those relationships, and I like learning from people. So I decided, well, you know what, I think a bachelor's degree in a new field, which communication is for me, would be ideal.
And I know you also have a sports minor, sports management minor.
Yeah.
How have you been applying that to your communication degree, or is it something that you wanted to do just to give you an edge?
Well, I've been fortunate enough to have classmates at GMU who run sports-related websites, so I was able to use my writing and write for their sports sites. And I've also been able to work communications for events such as the Big Ten basketball tournament, so I was able to do that, and that was great. So I've been able to use them both, which has been awesome for me.
That's phenomenal. All right, thank you so much for talking to us about your job, Chateau. We'll be back with more.